today, I just think our conversation is about reviews. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of things about reviews, but we kind of danced around reviews last time when we talked about different things, reputation or whatever. But this time, I think we really need to get into some details about it and see what everybody's doing. So let's just hit it. I will tell you this, and I wrote this, reviews are online currency. Do you have enough? And we had in our last discussion, it seemed like two things that were good about reviews. You had a bunch, and they were somewhat recent. Okay, so I kind of said, man, without that, you do it. Did anybody look up their competitors and see how many reviews they had in the Google 3-pack or anything? Did y'all look at that?
Yep.
I look at it every now and again.
And is it good news or bad news, Brandon, for you?
I mean, it's good news for me.
Because you're crushing it.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else look them up and see? How are you in line with your competitors and everybody in line? Out of line?
My one competitor in my area has got 500.
500 reviews. And how long have you been in business, Keith? Does it say on there?
It doesn't. I didn't look at that.
Yeah.
But I've had a client actually call me and say, hey, I'm not sure about your competitor having 570 or 580 reviews. You had 150 and they look legit, and that's why I went with you. So saying you got so many reviews doesn't really mean you're going to get the business.
Size doesn't always matter.
That's right. Don't you know that, Ken?
Oh yeah, baby. I know it firsthand. So the gig is that you're exactly correct. And sometimes, we danced around a little bit last time when you've got all these 5-star reviews and you got 500 something of them. I mean, that's almost unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, because nobody pleases everybody 500 something times. Chad, in the restaurant business, if you please the people that were here last week, that was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, right.
2 hours ago, they had breakfast there, and then they came back for lunch. Only reason they came back was breakfast was good. But I mean, nobody believes that. I mean, the way people get outlandish and all that. So that's it. So I think there is no more online gold. And we talked about how Google Business Profile last week was absolutely the king of real estate for online. If you've got a great Google Business Profile and you included all of the elements we talked about, reviews are really important, but not everything. And I'm going to shock you guys and say this. People look other places besides Google for reviews on home inspectors. Wow. So having reviews any place that a potential home buyer could look for a home inspector is the most important thing. So I think that Google reviews are important, but that's it. But reviews in general are the key to success. Remember you have to, in the old days before reviews, you'd have to brag a little on yourself and, everybody discounted that, this, that, and the other. But now when your neighbors are saying it, this is pretty powerful stuff. So let's talk about it for a minute. We hit on it the other night. When we talked about this, but I want to really talk about it again. Okay, I guess I should have said, are baby boomers the most important target audience in your market? And I'm just going to start at the top and let's see who we got. We got Beth and Brandon, you're next online. What do you think? Is that the biggest portion of your market, or is it younger people, millennial, Gen Z? What do you got?
Thinking back to the master class we did back in the spring or winter, it was. I think the stat was something like 60% of home buyers right now are millennials. Does that ring a bell? I'm not sure, but
it's a big number.
Yeah, it's a lot harder to get a review, in my experience, from a boomer than it is a millennial.
Yeah. Now, and so, Brandon, what would you say, because you live in a smaller community that's pretty homogeneous? What would you say the average transaction value of homes that are selling there in your market? 200,000-300,000, or
no? They're I would say on the low end. 300. So you're probably looking at 400. Yeah, 400,000 probably kind of the average, I would say.
Yeah.
430 maybe.
426 I saw nationwide the other day, for average home price. Okay, so Gen Zs and others must be doing well in your market. I mean, your market's still dynamic, they're doing well and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because for people to buy a $300,000 house, the income at 7% is still pretty steep, the income
Oh,
requirements.
I can't imagine trying to buy a house right now with the payment.
Yeah. Yeah, we look at that too. We're like, oh, well, we own one with a high payment and one with a low payment, I mean, interest rate. We got one with a six and then something, and we got one with a 2 point something. So that's the pain is there on the other one for
Oh yeah.
sure. So okay. So the biggest challenge with boomers. So the boomers that you have in your market, can you get any reviews from them?
Pretty difficult on occasion, but they just don't have that buy-in. They just want that excellent service. They don't want to invest anything beyond, the payment. That's good enough for them.
Hmm. Now, Chad, what about your market? Are boomers still purchasing? Are they big? Are they the biggest buying group? Who you got?
I would say that I haven't run the numbers, but
Sure.
most of them are millennials. I would say the
Wow.
vast majority.
And
The
Chad, you're in a big market. I mean, you're not in some small market like Brandon. You're in a big market. So,
Yeah, I mean the older folks. Um, we used to do a bunch. We have a couple of neighborhoods that are just you know 55 plus kind of communities.
mhm.
We were there all the time, and that's dropped off significantly. We don't go there maybe handful of times a year anymore.
Wow. Now that's interesting. That is interesting. Keith, how about you? The boomers still going, or are the boomers being replaced as your primary market by somebody else?
Yeah, millennials are kind of kicking in. I average home sales about 285. We've got a few national builders in here that are offering the 4% commission, and they're doing everything in house. So we've got a lot of new construction going on over here.
Okay. So boomers are less important to you than they have been in the past.
That's true. Yeah, millennials are really really kicking in right now.
Wow. Incredible. Now, Joe, how about yourself in your market? Where are you located and are boomers a big portion of your business?
Hey guys, I'm gonna turn my video on.
Okay.
I'm in Cleveland, Northeast Ohio.
Mhm.
And I hardly do any boomers. It's mostly millennial and maybe Gen X. So 25 to 45 probably is where the bulk of my clients are. And I think millennial and next up Gen Z, they're using online rating. So I think it's very important.
Yep.
Yeah, they're the ones doing it for sure. John, how about in your market? You got any old folks? I mean, in your market, nobody can afford to, if you're not under 60, a place where you live.
I just looked it up because I heard the conversation. The average price in the city I live in Shelton, Connecticut, is 520. The average sale price.
Wow.
Wow.
And I got a pretty good mix because I'm getting the boomers that are downsizing and going into a condo, or the boomers that are I just did one this week for they're helping their son buy a house. So I'm getting them some of those, but mostly it's the younger folks. But the boomers are probably not the ones leaving the Google reviews. It's the younger ones.
Yeah, they're not. I will tell you that I used to, and I'm in the boomer age for sure. And I used to not do it, leave a bunch of reviews, but because we've been teaching this forever, and I know it's so important that I really take an extra time and effort to really give good reviews for products, services, and other things that I like. But my friends don't. They don't do it. Like Brandon said, they expect good service. You can just don't give that. They might give you a review, but or
Mm.
scream at you. But the fact of the matter is, they're not doing it. So they're not really that valuable right now for you guys. But we agree they're the hardest bunch to get reviews from. Let's look on and say, let's change out baby boomers because we're really not doing it and talking about them that much. let's talk about what's the biggest challenge. I know when we did some teaching on reviews a year or so ago, I looked up the stats and I looked up this survey on millennial behavior. And because you know what happens is that generation and Gen X are there, we have to be able to adjust our strategies to that. One of the things I noticed was in analyzing that information was that millennials want to help you co-create your brand. Okay. And so when I say that, what they mean, they want to help you make your brand better based on their experience. Okay. Have you guys seen that in the reviews they give you? What are they saying to you in a review? Are they just saying great inspection, or are they giving you more types of information? What do you think about Brandon? Let's start with you again because you're at the top of my screen.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, a lot of times it's, sometimes they'll drop a name in there. So they're kind of giving kudos to the inspector. A lot of times they'll reference the report and the videos we embed in the report. So I mean, they'll go into the details on what they really appreciated. We always encourage the client to be there. So they'll mention, hey, we really liked being there and talking to the inspector and that kind of thing. So yeah, they'll definitely go into it. I mean, obviously you get a handful of that are just like straight 5-star reviews, no comments or anything, or just like a one-liner. But I would say a majority of them go, 1 or 2 extra lines probably to kind of give some of that feedback.
Mm-hmm. So when they help you co-create their brand, one of the studies said was that if you don't respond to that in a meaningful way, they feel slighted because they took their time to provide you information on what they liked and maybe could have seen you improve on.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you don't respond, they feel slighted. So how is it you work that?
I mean, we've kind of got a little system going. I shared a little bit about how we've been testing out how do we I think we got something almost 40 reviews, all of them 5-star, of course, right? But almost 40 reviews just this month alone, in August. And that just gets kind of overbearing to how do you actually go in and respond to those meaningfully. So we've been using AI to kind of respond to some of those, but we've always coached, hey, let's pick 1 or 2 things. If they mention something that we've gone above and beyond on, they like the report and the videos, let's mention that in our response. So that's something that we've always done. But we've just gotten really good at getting reviews lately that now we've turned to AI to kind of help us with that.
So let me ask you this. When you're providing a meaningful review, do you provide a call to action in your review?
Not
To be sure and tell your friends and family, hey, thanks so much for those kind words. And we would really love to get you to help us grow our business by telling us about your friends and family, some little kind of blurb like that, a call to action. Is that something you guys normally do or don't?
We haven't specifically done that, no.
Okay. That's awesome. I mean, I think you should. I mean, let's go ahead and talk about the love they're giving you, and then let's ask for some more business.
Yeah.
Because if they loved you, why wouldn't they refer you to the friends and family? But as a strong marketer, you have to tell people what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So Chad, let's go to you. How about when you get reviews from the millennials and the Gen Zs, is it a one-liner? Chad's team did a great job, or they showed up on time, everything was just okay. Are they talking to you in a review?
Well, I'd say it's a mix. It's a mix of, one-liners and something that is more specific, just like Brandon. But yeah, I don't know that we've ever done the call to action part. I'd have to go back and read what my replies were, but I always mention something specific to what they said.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just thank you for your kind words, bye. I'm pick out something that they said and say, I really appreciate you noticing this kind of a thing.
Uh-huh.
And that makes it more, it's not an automated response.
Yeah, I like that because there's nothing more annoying than that, except maybe automated attendant when you call. That's annoying as hell, and then to take your time to give a response and nobody does it. But I'm gonna tell you, the majority of people that I send reviews to, other businesses never reply, never respond.
Why is that, Ken? Why do you think that is?
I think that they, first, I think it's ignorance. And again, remember, ignorance is unknowing. So they just don't know that that makes a difference. And I think oftentimes maybe they don't have anybody in charge of it, or they don't have a policy or a team that does it. But I shared with you a couple of weeks ago where the company sent me, somebody in their marketing department sent me a handwritten note to thank me. That was powerful. You know what happened? I'm still using them now because of it. They might not be the cheapest price, but they got great service and they appreciate my business. So I think that's they're just not thinking through it. There isn't any, you can't say thank you too many times. And you know what happens is, and I say this to you guys all the time, how much money do we spend on chasing new business? Go ahead and fess up. All of it. Our whole marketing budget goes there, doesn't it? We got to kiss that next butt, man. Get that next piece of business in. Go ahead and get the lipstick out because we're going to put it on that pig. We're chasing new business 100% of the time, but all you got to do is say thank you to the people that already love you. And I bet what you can do is get some more business for no money, no extra money. They already know you, like you, and trust you. So that's what I was saying to Brandon, you guys, listen, put a call to action in there. How about this? How about putting keywords in there? Hey, thanks for your, allow me to do your home inspection in Lady Lake, Florida. We really appreciate it. We've served Lady Lake for X amount of time, and, we would love to serve your family and friends as well if they need a home inspection, or if they just have a home inspection question, we'd love for them to call us. So introduce some of your keywords into it, the areas in which you serve. Okay, just as natural flows, just like that. Okay, so that'll be another thing. So then your reviews start to show up for Lady Lake Home Inspector. Okay, that has tremendous SEO value when you add keywords into these things. But it also makes it natural. Hey, where did you do the inspection? We did it in Lady Lake, or we did it in Ocala, Florida, or Gainesville, Florida. So I would add keywords and a call to action. And I know Brandon is a little bit overwhelmed, and this is a staffing issue, but I have a love-hate with AI. We're beta testers for AI. We test all kinds of things. Dill, he's in on it. We're all testing AI, every aspect of AI, whether it's to help answer the phone, for overflows, or whatever. And so what we're really looking at is, if you give a personal response and you, like you guys have said, are mentioning something about it, I really am glad that you like the inspection report, because we worked a lot of hours getting that thing, adjusted to where our customers appreciate it. And oh, by the way, if there's something else you'd like to see in the report, just drop me an email, or chat on our live chat, or do something else. See, then they really think, wow, they really appreciated it. Okay, so then you said, okay, Ken, hold on. How much time can I spend on a review? Well, how much money did you spend on new business? Okay, so I got a minute to say thank you, right? I know your mama told you to do it, so you better be doing it. Okay, because don't mess with mama. She done said say thank you. Not, you can't say thank you enough. It's like making a first impression. You only get one chance. So, but you shouldn't, here's one of the rules. It's called certain, sure, soon, certain, and positive reinforcement of the behavior you want. So soon, certain, and positive reinforcement. Somebody gives you a review. So what do? You immediately write back, right? And it's a positive response. And guess what? You share with them what you want them to, what step you want them to take next. Okay, I want you to refer us to your friends and family because you love us. Okay, so that's it. So Keith, how about you? What kind of reviews are you getting? Your inspector was a mutt, or no, we had a great time and the report was excellent, or
just generic. There's really nothing over the top. Pleased with the service, pleased with the promptness of the phone call. Excellent customer service. Just very generic.
okay. I'm going to come back on all of these points because these are very good points. John, how about yourself? What are the people saying to you?
You get 3 or 4 reviews in a row that are one-liners. He did a great job. And then every now and then you get one that's a full paragraph and I really like that. I try to respond. I do respond to all of them, but I think my responses are starting to sound all very much the same. In the past you said we should be saying, hey, thank you for you know, it was a pleasure to work with you in your Shelton home and things like that, you know, like you said about Lady Lake. And I'm always hesitant to put where I met them and things like that in there, because I don't know if I don't know, messing with their privacy, you know, by saying where they came from. I haven't done some of that. I probably ought to. One recently, I just the guy said it was nice to meet you, blah 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 blah, and I said, yeah, it was nice to meet you, and I added his wife's name in, you know. But I never even know if I should be doing that, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I think that when people give you a review like that, you're going to be fine. And you know, you didn't give their physical address. I mean, it's not like you doxed them. I mean, you just
No.
said, hey, thanks for the Lady Lake, home inspection. If you know anybody else in this area, or maybe Shelton, but maybe in the next city once you serve also, I'd love to help them as well.
Yeah.
So it's in a nice way you're doing it. But people feel good about it when you respond to them. So I think that you shouldn't. I don't know. I don't think that would be a worry for me. I don't think that would.
Okay.
Now, Joe, how about yourself? You obviously you're getting a mix, but how about are you getting predominantly the more than one line or?
I would say predominantly more than one line. I also want to just touch on, I do think it's very valuable to reply. So, because I think as a potential customer is reviewing your reviews, they're also looking at the responses. So I think using proper, polite responses is very valuable as well. I think too, mine are probably starting to sound the same. Congratulations on your new home. It was a pleasure meeting you. So maybe we can look at other ways of doing that. While you guys were talking, I was thinking maybe in our responses, we put some ways to attract more potential buyers in there. Say, hey, if you're reading reviews, give me a call, just something silly, anything to change it up somehow. Um, my biggest issue is I have a very poor return on reviews, but I think my customers are happy. I average 25 to 30 inspections a month as a one-man operation, but I get 2 to 3 reviews a month. So I'm less than 10, maybe 10% at best. And I'm trying to figure out ways to improve on that.
We'll talk about systems in a minute for sure, because that's important because you could be the best home inspector in the world, but if you don't get enough reviews, then that's happening. And where are they giving reviews? If they give you paper reviews and write it down, that's not really good enough today in digital markets. So we'll talk about that. I want to start back with another question. Let's see what I got here. I don't want to get too far off script, but I got some other things about this. We'll come back to this for a minute, but I know that listening to what everybody's saying about the one-liners. They get quite a few one-liners, this, that, and the other. I'd like to talk about for a minute your approach in discussing the desire for a review when you're finished. So let's talk about that. How is it you ask for a review? Okay, and then I think I have another question there about the timing. But let's start, and Brandon, because we're picking on you, let's just start at the top because you're on the top of my screen. So let's talk about, I pushed the wrong button there. Sorry, guys. The How do you ask for it? What do you say? When do you ask for it? How do you set it up? The whole thing. I've just read some different research on that recently and trying to help our clients get better at this. And
Mhm.
I just want to see what everybody's doing now.
So I guess in terms of asking on site, because we have a whole system beyond that, but just in terms of being on site with the inspector, so our guys, the way I've trained them is, hey, I'm going to finish the report. I'm going to send it off to you later today. I'm also going to send you a link to our review page. It would really help me out. And so I really emphasize the word help because people want to be helpful. And so that's more or less, we'll send you a link. So we email it, we text it, it's all automated through that. And then there's some follow-up that we do afterwards. But I know that that's been a big hurdle for a lot of people. Even I guess when I started really doing it myself and I was doing inspections still, having a hard time getting over that hurdle. It just kind of felt awkward to ask for a review, but once you do 5 or 10 of them, it's pretty natural. But usually just tell them, hey, we're going to send you a link. It really helped me out. Even when I was doing them, and I don't know if our guys are doing them now, I need to do a better job on quality control on that. But in our driveway speech, I used to bring it up there as well. Like, hey, my job today is to give you 5-star service. I would really appreciate, and I hope that we can earn a 5-star review from you. So I'd bring it up at the beginning and then again at the end. And so that would be kind of generally the format that we would use when you're talking about just on site.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I'll tell you, Brandon, I hear from our one-man shop clients all of the time that they do feel awkward about it.
Yeah.
Even after 5 or 10, some of them aren't really super outgoing, very good technicians and good home inspectors, but aren't super outgoing, and they just really feel awkward about it. So I think what happens is their ask is less than perfect, and so the number of reviews they get are a smaller number, and it's a lot of one-liners.
Mhm.
So, so I think people have to just say, listen, we are a business owner running a business. We
Yeah.
have to get over that awkwardness and start asking for reviews. Because if you don't ask, you don't get.
Right.
I mean, welcome to the world. I mean, how many dates did you get without asking somebody out? Okay, don't tell me. Okay, some of you studs probably got plenty, but the rest of us had to ask. Chad, he didn't. He was probably some smooth talker in high school. So, okay, well, that's interesting. So, Chad, how do you set up the ask? When do you ask? How does that work in your firm? And I know because you guys are multi-inspector firms, Brandon hit right on the head was the quality control thing. Because when you guys were doing it, you control the quality 100%, but now somebody else is doing it on your behalf, and it's not that it's less controllable. So, Chad, I guess the question is, how are you teaching your guys to set up the ask, and when are they asking for the review?
Well, that has been a big, huge problem here because I've beat my head against the wall for, I don't know, 2-3 years now. At every agent's office, every meeting I go to, I preach to them how important it is to have their client come. And every single agent around here just tells their people, if you're going to show up, just come right at the end. Don't get in their way. Just let them do their job. And I say, no, don't do that. Don't tell them that. Tell them to come for the whole time. It's so about the only time we can get them is at the end. I mean, there is probably, I don't know, maybe one hand I can count the number of people who have been to the whole inspection this year. But most people were calling them at the end of the inspection to make sure they're still coming. So
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. So, Chad and Keith, if you're having that problem, Sitzer Burnett is about to cure it.
It will. It will.
Sitzer Burnett is going to cure your problem on that. It might introduce another problem or two, but it's going to cure that problem. So, Chad, let me say this to you, and I'm not putting you on the spot, but what percent roughly would you say of the inspection that you do that you get reviews on?
Oh, it's low. Real
Okay.
low.
And so the reason it's low is just because the agents are doing what you don't want them to do. Because I hear home inspectors say to the client, don't come until the end. And that is the biggest disservice they can do to their prior client marketing and efforts. Because when you're there, you can build a relationship. I know I would come home and tell Beth all about these people. And she said, how in the hell do you know all this about these people? I said, I ask them when I'm doing the inspection.
Right.
I talk to them, man. I build a relationship. And so the reviews are very high. And I'll tell you the other thing, Chad, and you may have noticed this too, a lot of the number of callbacks are directly related to when they showed up for the inspection. Because if they didn't come for the whole thing, they don't see how wonderful your team is. They only see the report, the outcome of their work.
Agreed.
Right. I 100% agree to that.
Right.
100%.
When we look at that all the time, old Doc Jones, when we look at the medical malpractice industry, one of the things about it, they said, they had this outcome that was bad. And they said, why didn't you sue Doc Jones? And they said, because I liked him. Yep. Okay. When you have a chance to go in there and build a relationship with that client, even if something goes wrong, they saw how thorough you were. So they're way more forgiving than someone who just read the report. So that really hurts us in reviews. And I think Sitzer Burnett will fix that when buyer's agents are no longer a component. then you will be able to control your own business. And I'm telling you, this is one of the most exciting things I can get. Whoo, the yoke is off, baby. This is one of the most exciting things, Chad, especially for you and Keith, because the fact, and it may be others too, but the fact of the matter is when you control how you do business, a lot of better things happen. The complaints go down, the more reviews come up, more business flows in, life's a lot easier. I mean, we used to have agents quote our price, and I'm sure you've had that too. And we was like, what? Then they'd call up and the price would be way higher and the agent would be pissed and the client would be pissed. And, that starts you off on a very bad situation.
Yeah.
So that's it. So, okay. So with that said, how is it you deliver the report? Somebody comes, or if they don't come, you just email it to them.
Email.
Yeah. Email.
Okay. Yeah, that's sad. That's just that's very hard. I knew that those two things without talking to you were going to be low, both low number of responses and high number of complaints. Because, even though you've done a fantastic job and your work output is perfect, so the doorknob was loose. Now they're calling you back because they never came to the damn thing. Okay. Now, Keith, how about you? I see you commiserating with Chad. So you have that kind of same situation?
Yeah, same situation. Yeah. Most of the time the clients are not there, the agent is there, which is good in a way that we can build more relationship with them for the referrals. But, we always, take a step back. And that's what we do in our company. We call back the buyer and ask them if they have any concerns or any questions on their reports, and just try to engage with them. And and most of them would say no, everything's good. It was a thorough report. I understand what's going on. I'll call you if I need. That's what we're getting on our end.
Mm-hmm. And then after you finish talking with that person, do you send them a thank you note?
We do.
Okay.
A thank you email.
Mm-hmm. Remember we talked about a few weeks ago, those handwritten notes.
I know, I wrote that
How
down.
powerful that was.
I wrote
I
that
mean, yeah, not everybody can do it, but if you can do it or have someone on your staff, like you can get a high school kid with good writing to do it. You can just give them a little outline
Or just
and,
get you,
they'll do it. What's that?
just get you to do it.
Yeah.
Sure.
I wouldn't want you to read
Where's she
read my
at? She's
handwriting.
somewhere back there. Where's Miss
Bess-
Haney at?
Yeah, Bess, like, hell no.
Ken's like, no.
Yeah, my handwriting, you wouldn't be able to read what I wrote you.
I want to say something to Keith here because you're doing a follow-up call after the inspection, it sounds like, right?
Right.
So that has been like the number one thing for us to get all these reviews that we're getting right now. I get them on the phone, and right now I don't have a great system. Right now I'm doing it. It takes me about an hour, maybe 2 hours to make 20 calls or so. I literally call every client. I do it on a Monday. I don't know why Monday, but I just pick Monday morning. I make my calls and I call all the clients from the previous week and I have that conversation. You just wanted to check in, see how the inspection went.
Right.
Any questions
Any
you have.
concerns?
Yep. But then I transition it to, hey, and I'll tell you my script, it works every time. Not every time. 50% of the time it works. I'd like to ask you for a favor. We're a small business. We have 5 employees. We rely a ton on referrals, but also 5-star reviews. If I were to text you a link, would you be willing to give us some feedback on our review page? They all say yes. Half of them do it.
But
And
yeah,
then I have a little text. I text them the link. Boom. And so that, like, if you go back and look at our Google reviews, they all come in on Monday and Tuesday because I do my phone calls.
right.
Now, Brandon, are you texting them the link to your Google page, or are you doing the reputation management page?
We're just going since they got rid of the link between the Google page or the reputation management.
And
We just go
Google.
straight to Google right now.
Gotcha.
It's been a long time, knock on wood, since we got a poor review. Our guys just do a good job, and so we don't really have the complaints that you might expect.
Mhm.
If we do, we get enough reviews that we can bury, a bad review pretty quick. So that's kind of the process that we go through, and it takes time. And again, it's not perfect for us. I don't love doing them, and I wish I could outsource it, but at this time, it's a priority for us to do them, and I'm the one that I make the time for it. And so I mean, on occasion, I'll get mentioned in an inspection that I had nothing to do with except for the phone call at the end. They'll be like, even the owner Brandon gave me a call to make sure I had a good experience, you know. So
And Beth, I see your look on your face. So you got something you want to share with us? Okay. So I will tell you that when you do that, Brandon, you know how successful it is. And I would pop up in inspections different times on our inspectors, and I would just say, you know, they'd show up, they'd see me like, who the hell is this guy? And I would just say, hey, I'm Ken. I'm, you know, the president of, you know, Southern Home Inspection Services, and I'm just checking in on the quality, see how everything's going, to make sure that you're doing good. We have a big team, and I want to make sure you get the service you deserve. And I'm just going to poke around. Anthony's your inspector, or whoever it is. You know, if you have questions, it's him. I'm just going to look around and say goodbye when I get ready to go. And they'll engage me sometimes. Sometimes they wouldn't, but they liked it.
yeah.
That somebody was looking in and going that way. So quality control inspections, dropping it on your inspectors is a big thing too. But also what you're doing, because the owner doesn't pick up the phone and call anybody. And that's a breath of fresh air for people.
Well, and I mean,
It is. Agreed.
the whole idea of making it easy for them is so important, you know. So yeah, you can send an email, but people just get bombarded with emails and nobody reads them anymore. But a text message, I forget the stat, Ken, but you know, something like 95% of people see a text message within 1 minute or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so making it easy for them, asking them if they're willing to do it. They say yes. I send the text, and like I said, you know, we'll get 5, sometimes up to like 9 or 10 reviews between a Monday and a Tuesday after I made my calls.
And Chad, are you doing any of that? Are you calling the clients to try to, after the fact, to try to leverage your review? Branding's asking for a 5-star review. And the way you set it up, you know, people want to do business with people. They don't want to do business with nameless, faceless corporations. I mean, a company delivered a beautiful bottle brush tree today that we planted in the backyard. We could have gone to one of the big nurseries. We didn't. We went to a family-owned nursery, and we continuously do business there, and they appreciate our business. And the owner, one of the employees, the family of the owners, delivered the tree today, okay, themselves, because we, you know, do a lot of business there, and you know they value that. And so, you know, I think that that's important. So, how about you, Chad? Are you picking up the phone and calling your customers and asking, since they're not there for the inspection?
No, I just made a note of that when he was talking. So that's going to be something we implement here pretty soon.
I think that'll get your percentage of the reviews that you get up, you know, because you're at a disadvantage. People didn't come and see, and they just saw the work product. But I think what people will say is, wow, the owner of the company called me to make sure everything was okay. You know, so even though they weren't there for the outcome, I think you'll get it. And I think what happens is you might learn a few things about your inspector. So when I called them on the phone, I would ask personally what they thought of their inspector.
Yeah.
You know, what could he or she have done better? Because they get annoying. You know, these damn employees. Oh yeah. That's good. You know, you don't see many ladies in the business, but that's awesome. I think it's great. But one of the things, you know, that you noticed about was that certain inspectors will get reviews and certain won't. And then one of the things you need to ask yourself, Chad, is if somebody has a below average response rate on reviews, maybe they're not doing something right. And so I would specifically ask the client on those reviews. Of those that person did get, I would be very inclined to ask that. And I would call up some of his customers that didn't get a review on, and find out, you know, hey, I'm just calling in, you know, a little quality control check. Just wanted to make sure you were happy with your inspection. Oh, by the way, what did you think about your inspector? Did he show up on time? Was he polite? Was he well dressed? Did he let you follow him around? Did he share information with you? Whatever questions you have, I would ask that.
Yeah.
And then I would ask for a damn review.
Yeah.
Bam.
Yeah. And then
So
I
just
definitely think that's,
Yeah, because we noticed that that some of our guys didn't get reviews as much. So we started this little review contest, and Joel Jones would always say, "Ken, just go ahead and give me the $100 because I'm going to smoke everybody else on reviews." So I should have just given him the $100 because he did it every time. But we had this guy's name was Paul, and Paul was really a very good home inspector, but Paul was pretty reserved, and it was before the Right Path came out, and we weren't really, he was a good inspector, and he was a nice fellow, and he looked nice, but he was really quiet. And so when his review ratio dropped down below where it should have been, I always have a talk with him and I'd say, Paul, I noticed that the number of reviews you're receiving is down a little bit. And I said, I bet you're not talking much with the clients, are you? And he said, no, Ken, I'm not really. And I said, well, the only time you have to talk to the clients is on the driveway. Welcome. Here's what we're going to do today. And make sure that you do a quality wrap up. Okay, just talk to them then. So if you can just get outside your comfort zone for those 2 times, then just be you during the inspection. And when I'd say it to him, when I had my thumb on the back of his neck, then his reviews went up. But then he reverted back to his old self when I wasn't paying attention closely. So, but he was still a good inspector. And the reason I never terminated him because he was 100%er. He just wasn't ever going to help us pull the wagon. So, but he was 100%er. We didn't get complaints on him really. So, and he was a nice fellow. He had a nice family. I always get to know everybody's family. So they get annoying. One of the other things I noticed too, when you have to talk about home inspectors and getting what you want done when it's not you out there, is we would leave a leave behind card with a discount coupon for the seller. Okay, so the seller said, if you're moving within 50 miles of here, we'd love to provide you the same thorough report we did on this home. And while you might be annoyed with us when you receive the report, know that we'll provide you the same quality inspection when you buy your next home. And so we kind of just got right into it, and then we would leave a discount coupon. And I can't tell you how many people we would get from that, but I could always tell which inspectors were no longer leaving it because we had a benchmark of how many we would get. Okay, so setting up KPIs or key performance indicators for individual metrics. And one of them is reviews received by an inspector. In other words, how many reviews did they receive? Okay, the other metric could be how many star ratings. Okay, if you're getting 4 stars on a bunch of people, I'm asking why. I'm going out there to see. I'm not asking Doodly. I'm going out there to see it myself. And I'm not telling them I'm coming. I sneak up. I'm a sneaky old dude. Keith, how about yourself on this? The ask. How do you teach the guys this or the team, whether I don't know if you have ladies or not, to set it up and when you ask for it and how you ask for it?
We ask for it on the end of the inspection. And if you I teach the guys that, if we did a good job for you, would you leave us a review? We're going to send you a review online, via email. But some they do not want to leave reviews. So what I've done is call some of these clients and say, hey, how did XYZ do? And is there any concerns, any questions on the report? Has everything been addressed for you? Any concerns? And then we get reviews on the backside of that.
You know what I would ask if your clients aren't really there, if they're not there? This would be the question I'd ask. Be prepared for whatever answer comes up. You can't be thin-skinned necessarily. I'd say if there was one thing or 2 things that we could do better to serve you to make the whole process better, what would that be?
But they weren't there, right? They weren't there for the inspection, so they don't.
And I would say that. I would say that because
yeah,
maybe the
it
report
doesn't
wasn't
hurt.
clear.
Yeah, they might point something out that we're not addressing in the report, which is important to them that we could address, down the line.
Because you know what we've really just discussed here, reviews are nothing but feedback, right?
Feedback.
So really what happens is if you're not getting reviewed to make your business better, don't you still need the feedback?
It's all about the feedback.
That's what I'd ask that question. Hey, I know you weren't at the inspection today and you just received the report. And I don't know if you talked to the home inspector or not, but I just want to know, because for a buyer like yourself that just came at the end, is there anything that we could do to make the process better for you? Okay,
Right.
now it might
Right.
be a little different setup for a buyer that did come. You would still ask the same question, only you would preface it slightly differently. Okay, because I need that feedback. I mean, I need to know, do we suck? Are we really
Right.
good? Or am I in left field
Right.
or
Right.
whatever? Okay,
Expectations.
right. But
That's the bottom line.
it,
What does a client expect from this home inspection? Because they really don't know from the beginning of what's going on in this home inspection. They think, okay, we're going to get a home inspection, and oh, we're going to get a reduction in sale or cost of the home, and that's where they're thinking down the line. What can this inspector find that can help me negotiate this offer? It,
I think it's two things,
that's the
but
bottom line of this.
yeah, I think it's two things. I think it's two things. I think that you're on the money for sure. But for Beth and I, and we bought a lot of homes together. I mean, it is about the negotiation thing, but that's a secondary thing because we plan to live here. Okay, so what is it that I need to know before I plunk my money down? That's the primary thing. What are these issues?
Right.
And the secondary issue is if it's something that's going to be expensive, I'll negotiate it. But I look at that list and I say, hell, I'll fix all that. That's no, I'm not going to argue about that. But those big things, that's it. But the first thing I think about, and I may be atypical, is I'm going to live here, man. I don't have, I want to know what I got, and I just see when people that didn't get a home inspection, they have tremendous buyer's remorse on these properties because they didn't know what they were getting. I mean, the money was secondary, but now they're just stuck with these headaches.
But whose fault is that?
Well, I mean, there's no fault. I mean, it's your fault, right?
No,
Because
it's
they're
not
never
my
going.
fault.
Well, they're
It's
never going to
the
take responsibility
agents.
for their own self.
It would be the agent or the client's, education to get the home inspection prior to the purchase.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that
All right.
when you hear marketers say, oh, blah, 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 that wasn't your fault. Yes, it was your fault because you're a dipshit. Of course you need a home inspection.
Right.
When John started in the business 100 years ago, he had to convince people that they needed a home inspection. He had to explain it to them what a home inspection was. We're way past that. I mean, you're under a rock in some outlying area if you don't know that you need a home inspection today. Well, the convincing business on that was over, but man, that used to be the big thing. What's a home inspection?
Ken, I mean, when you talk about new construction versus existing homes,
Well, that's a
all
different
these
story.
new, okay, so you know where I'm going with this.
Mm-hmm.
All these new buyers, they're buying a new home, they don't need inspections.
It's new, man. What
They
could
have
be
a
wrong with
warranty.
it?
They have
Yeah,
a
it's
warranty,
new.
but they have buyer's remorse
Yeah,
after they
yeah.
buy it.
Well, that's
So
why builders'
we've
warranty
been pushing
inspections
a
are
lot
there.
of 11-month warranties inspection
Yeah.
to educate the client. Hey, why, and I ask them, why didn't you why didn't you get a home inspection prior to your purchase? Oh, because it's new construction. They're going to take care of it anyway.
Yeah, usually they'll tell you because a realtor told her they didn't need it.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Thank God for Sitzer Burnett.
Well, we're going to see how that works out.
They gone. So, John, let's think about it. So you're still controlling your own destiny. How you asking and when for the review?
Most of it is at the end of the inspection when they're telling me, I'm saying thank you and getting paid and so on. And usually they're saying, thank you and you were so thorough, blah blah blah. And I always say, well, my business thrives on these online reviews, so it would be really helpful if you would provide me a review. And most of them say, yeah, okay, but then I don't see it. But then we do have the system set up in ISN to send them the link automatically. I send it, I think, 2 days after they open the report is when I have it timed to go out.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, maybe my timing
important.
can be improved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, follow-up is important. So I think also, again, maybe just calling the client personally.
And I do call the clients after the inspection. Brandon kind of got me on that a while ago. But I haven't been using that opportunity to ask for a review. Most of the time I get the bum's rush. It's like they weren't expecting the call. Yeah, everything's okay. It's like I caught them,
Yes,
they're
yes,
too damn busy, yeah, no, everything's okay, just fine. We'll call you if we need you,
right,
and it's a very quick call.
exactly.
So here's how I start that because they don't want to get into a long, drawn out thing. So here's how I started. Hey, this is Ken from Southern Home Inspection Services. I just want to take 2 minutes of your time to find out how the inspection went and to see if there was anything that we could provide you additionally. So they know you've already said up front how long the call is going to take.
Yeah,
Okay, so even busy people will take 2 minutes.
yeah.
Okay, but the reason I like text is because nobody can talk to me for 2 minutes. I get you guys on the phone, and my gosh, I can't get y'all off. And then my day, my calendar for the day is shot. So that's the way busy people are. They just, but if you can preface with, hey, this is Ken from, don't say it's Ken from Southern Home Inspection Services, please. But the rest of it is good. I'm going to just take 2 minutes of your time right now to ask you, do you need anything else from us? How'd it go? And oh, by the way, I know that you're a happy client because we were told that, and I'd love for you to give us a review. However you want to say that, but give them the 2 minute thing. They get it. The 2 minute warning, man.
Yeah.
2 minutes. Nobody's not got 2 minutes.
Yeah, and we send it in ISN. I think we send it twice, like a couple days, and then if we haven't gotten a response, we'll send it a couple days later, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Okay. Joe, so back to you. Let's talk about it for a minute. And what do you say, and when do you ask for it? How does it work in your firm?
I used to do the 2-day thing, and I just switched it to I send it immediately. So I send the report, and then I send an email that kind of goes with it around a minute later, and it's a thank you email. Thank you for your business. If you have any questions regarding your inspection report, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm here for you even after the inspection is completed. And would you mind taking a moment to leave a positive Google review? And with the link, click here. I found by switching from 2 days to immediately, I had some success and an increase. I did write down some notes, though. I don't mention it at the inspection. I think there's some value there. I think maybe sending a text request, there's some value there as well, because I do agree with emails get lost, where text, I think people are a little more responsive to texts. Using the word help and just saying like, hey, would it be okay if I text you a link for a review later today or tomorrow, I think is valuable. So those are some notes I wrote down. Also, to the guys complaining about people not being there for the whole inspection, I would suggest you all come to the Cleveland market, because 90% of all my inspections, they're there the entire time. And I guess
Too.
it's I kind of would prefer when they come to the end, because then I can still go over it with them, spend 30 minutes with them, do the summary with them and all that. They're there the whole time. I think it does take a little longer, and it depends on the individual. The ones that go around and they want to stop you a million times and ask questions while you're just trying to follow your template, will slow you down. But yeah, I think I did take away some valuable pointers that you guys mentioned here that's going to help with increase my reviews. I do have a question for Brandon. What percentage do you think are you getting on when you mentioned Mondays and Tuesdays, you're getting 9 to 10? What percentage is that?
Oh, it's probably 40 to 50%, depending on the week.
Yeah, that's really good. Like I said, I'm like 10%. If I do 30 inspections a month, I'm lucky to get 3 or 4 reviews. So just looking at ways to increase, to get that higher.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's
Joe,
something
I want go ahead, Brandon. I'm sorry.
we track it pretty closely, and we have a weekly meeting with our team. And so that's one of the things that we track is number of reviews, but then also the rate of reviews based on those inspections that week. And so we track that every week, and so I could look it up, but I'm not gonna. But yeah, that's something we track in kind of our weekly KPIs each week. So
And I want to just address this because Joe, you're new to me, so I've been coaching and owning a home inspection business forever. And I will tell you, ask you a question? Do you still do a driveway presentation, have the customer show up and you talk about what's going to happen today when they show up?
50% of the time, if they show up in the beginning, I say, hey, my name's Joe. Nice to meet you. I said, here's, I'm going to do this inspection. I use a tablet. As I'm walking around, I take photos. Every photo has a comment attached to it. And at the end, when I'm completely done, we'll find a place to sit down and kind of go over all my findings. And then I say, now's your time. This is like your own private open house. Feel free to roam around. I have a tape measure if you want to measure stuff. So I kind of do have a memorized spiel.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So one of the things I think the driveway presentation is the most important piece of the inspection because you set expectations for the customer. And I heard that you lamenting about the customers dragging you to and fro different parts of the house. And so I'm going to share with you a way to make that stop
Thank you.
and help you out on that. So what happens is I would pull up, they pull up, say, hey, I'm Ken. I'm going to be your home inspector today. And I just wanted to share with you how we're going to make this happen. But before we do it, I noticed that you didn't have any concerns on the work order that I got. Do you have anything now that you might not address with our scheduler? And we'll talk about that for a minute. If they do, they don't, they don't, they don't. I said, well, here's how it's going to work. Please know that I'm going to inspect the outside and I'm going to input my findings. I'm going to do the house, input my findings, attic, basement or crawl space slab. You know why I'm doing that last? Because if we have a leak or something, we'll find it. And then I say to him, here's the story. I can walk, talk, and chew gum all at the same time. And I encourage you to come with me every step of the way. However, if you don't want to do that, I do have the tape measure, flashlight, extra every tools that you can go and do those things. But please know this, I work in a routine. So I inspect the way I shared with you in the beginning. And if you're looking at a different part of the house and you see something you want me to address, please know that I can address it at the time we get there to that part of the house, because you know what? Because I'm in this routine, and if I get pulled here and there, I might miss something. Then I say to him, gosh, Mr. Jones, you wouldn't really want me to miss something, would you? And he's like, no, 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 no. Okay. And I said, well, that's the way it'll work. So what happens is when you see something, just write it down. And then when we get together, we get to that point, the furnace or the water heater, whatever, we'll address those issues when we get there. Is that good? And they'll say, that's great. Now, if they don't listen, Joe, when we first get in there, like how many of them don't listen? Most. So then they'll come in there and say, well, Ken, how about this? How about this? And I'll say, remember when we were on the driveway, here's what we said. We said, I'm in a routine. And the fact of the matter is, if I get pulled out of the routine, I might miss something. And you agreed you didn't want me to miss something. So how about doing this? Just make a note of it. And then what happens is when we get around to that point, then we'll go over it in detail. And so I generally never have to say it again. Okay. So I don't get pulled in one direction or the other. Because let me tell you this, Joe, 3.5 hours, baby. It's the Ken show. Ken is in charge. Okay, I don't give a damn if the real estate agent is there. A lot of the agents didn't like me. You know why? Because they're not in charge. And I don't mind pulling them aside and telling them, you're not in charge. Okay, I'm in charge. Because you know what happens? If somebody gets sued, it ain't going to be the real estate agent, right? It's going to be O'Ken. Okay, well, guess what? If I'm going to get sued, I'm going to be in charge. So I run it like a precision machine, bro. And that's the way it works. Now you'll get a pesky engineer and they'll keep on and keep on. And they say, I'll say, you know what? If you make me get outside the routine and we're going to go here and there and there, I need you to sign this indemnification that says, no matter what happens, you're not going to sue me. That usually shuts them straight up. Okay. So you got to be a badass some days. You know what? In a polite way. No, I'm Southern, so I say it in a nice way, y'all. But they get it. They totally get it. Okay. And that's what you have to do. But you have to view that customer as potential referrals again from them, but you're creating a brand fan. You are creating a fan for your brand by managing it the way I'm sharing it with you. And sometimes you have to be stern, but that's okay. You're not being impolite. All right. But I promise you that will stop and you'll gain it, because if you have Chad's position, they don't come till the very end. Callbacks go up, potential lawsuits go back up, and reviews go down. Okay, that's just not a good thing. We would demand basically that they come. Okay, from the beginning, because I want you on the driveway. Okay, now in the past, we've asked maybe for a review, say, if we give you a 5-star experience, but I've read some research that said millennials and Gen Zs feel extra pressure from that. They don't really like that. They want you to deliver first and then discuss it with them. Okay, so that I am not a psychologist, please know. I just read that in the literature. More and more people say that. So what happens is, I think that what happens if we're doing a Gen Z or a millennial, maybe we shouldn't do that. If we're doing a baby boomer, I don't think you can say it enough times because they clearly don't get it. So you say it enough times, but that's it. So I think what you do too, Joe, when you follow that routine that I'm talking to you about, that the number of people that will give you reviews and the quality of the reviews will go up. And I promise you, those reviews online are gold to you, whether you realize it right now or not. The more you get, the better off you are. The least hard you have to work, the least money you have to do for new business acquisition. Okay, because at Southern Home Inspection Services, almost a third, and we do $1,750,000 a year in sales. A third of our business came from prior client referrals, and we never spent the kind of money. Now we did market them on the back end, don't get me wrong, but we weren't spending all of our money on new business. So you won't have to do that. I mean, we have one-man shops as clients that never get new business. You know why? Their entire schedule is filled with referrals. Okay, 80–90% of their schedule is filled with referrals. So this is very important, but they run their business like a business. They're polite, but they have to do it. I mean, you don't tell the plumber who's fixing the water tank to come over and look at the water faucet. You see what I'm saying? This is your business, bro. Run it the way that you need to run it to be the most efficient and get more reviews and make more brand fans. The people that have the impression that you don't need to come, they don't get that many reviews, and when hard times come, there's no new business to get, they're out of business. So I don't want you to do that. I want you to think about the customer as the most precious asset that you have available to you. The real estate agent, not so much, but the client, pure gold. Okay, I hope that helps you. You maybe get a takeaway or two from that that'll help you stop that annoying, I got to go here, I got to go here. No, I don't. Unless you want me to miss something. I'm not going there right now. I shared with you on that driveway how we're going to run it.
Yeah, well,
and go ahead, Brandon. I'm sorry.
You
You've been
got
around
one.
me, Brandon, a long time, so Brandon knows this routine.
One of my guys has a similar challenge. He's very kind, he's very nice. And I've had to coach him on that too. Like, just tell him, you got to tell him in the driveway speech up front, first of all, and then not be afraid to tell him, hey, if they're trying to drag you all over the house, like, just tell him, look, he's a little uptight and he likes to stick in his routine, but he's not really forward enough to tell him, hey, take a note, I'll get there and I'll answer your question.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think what happens is you just have to be a little assertive on certain things. I mean, I'm always very nice. I mean, I have clients that have said, Ken, are you a home inspector or a comedian? And I'd say, girlfriend, I'm a both. I enjoyed my clients. I had a great time with them. I learned about them. I mean, I probably got 17 or 18 referrals from 2 New Yorkers that were first-time home buyers buying a big home in Marietta. Man, I did everybody personally in their family. There wasn't anybody in the firm going to serve them but me. And I really didn't, want it. But, the fact of the matter is that's the way it works. I build relationships with people when I'm there because brand fans start that way. You can send them all the emails you want. You can send them all the texts you want. But unless they're sold on you in the beginning, it's much harder to make this happen. Okay. Anybody got anything before we move to the next thing? I mean, I've learned a lot from you guys, what you're doing and how you're doing it.
And not for me. I'm going to jump off here in a few minutes.
Yeah, I know you got the coaching thing. I'm going to see if I can't rustle up another cup of coffee here in a minute. But how about platforms? Anybody using anything besides Google? I know if you're a client of ours and we're putting you everywhere, there could be seeing your reviews, but anybody else found any place that's really super good? How about Nextdoor? Anybody thought about using them there? I love Nextdoor. I'm going to offer Nextdoor some suggestions on their platform because they could be such a valuable thing. We call it hyper local marketing. So hyper local marketing means you're marketing in a very, very specific area, neighborhood or subdivision or development. And they could do a much better job to help us with that. And I'm going to offer them some constructive assistance on that and see if they'll listen. Hopefully they will. If not, oh well, they don't listen, but I'm going to share it with them, how you can make it better for our clients. And when you make it better for our clients, you make it better for their users, right? I mean, they're people are looking for local something on next door all the time. I mean, if you go there, you'll see it. That's it. I think a lot of the other places where we put you are very, very important for two reasons. One, you can get visitors on those sites, but the second thing, you get great backlinks. So it's part of your SEO strategy. So to getting links on that. And I promise you, if you'll put in there the city, thanks for, allowing us to do your Lady Lake home inspection, or, and oh, by the way, we serve the villages as well. And, if you have friends or family there, we'd love to help them as well. So get some city names in there. That'll help you when we're doing some marketing on that too. So there's quite a few other ones. I won't get into them since you guys aren't really hustling those. Okay, we talked about things that we can do to leave referrals. I'll tell you how we do it and how we taught it to our clients and how we taught it to all of our inspectors. We had 13 guys going full time. We didn't do part-time guys, and we had 5 full-time inspectors and support staff. But one of the things that happens, thank you, dear, is that when people are very happy with you, that's really the time to ask. When real estate agents ask me, they say, Ken, when is the best time for me to get a referral? And you know what I say? What do you guys, did anybody ever ask you at real estate agents? You ever tell them that? Have you ever had that discussion with them? The best time for them to ask for a referral is when they hand those keys over at the closing table, right? Nobody's happier than that in a real estate transaction, right? I mean, they might have gone through World War III to get there, but now, baby, you got the keys in the hand. You know what? The deal is done. All right, and that's the time they ask. That's the best time to ask real estate agents clients for reviews.
The moment of peak, what is it? Peak satisfaction.
That's it. Peak satisfaction is there. So here's what we do. Okay, and so here's what we did, and here's what we teach. The fact of the matter is that you have a client that's really happy. You're doing the wrap up, and so so I want to back up and say to Joe, one other thing too is this: do you get a fair amount of new first-time home buyers?
Yeah, I don't get much repeat business. It's all new clients every time,
I'm sorry. What I really mean is people buying their first home.
Yeah, I would say yeah, there's a decent amount of that. Young couples, those are typically millennial age.
Yeah. So I have always a different on the driveway presentation for them. And I'll say, gosh, I saw in the work order today, this is your first home. Wow. Are you excited? They'll say, yeah. And I'll say, are you nervous? And they'll say, yeah. And I said, well, you know what? Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to try to relieve some of that nervous tension with you. Would that be okay? And they'll say, yes, please. And I'll say, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a lot of information with you today about this home. Most of it's just information that you need to know, but don't freak out, okay? So here's our signal. If I see something that I want to spend some time discussing with you in detail, I'm going to raise my hand. Okay, so I'm going to raise my hand if I need to tell you something that's more important. But the rest of the time, if I don't have my hand up, just, know I'm sharing information. Then you know what they say? When at the end of the inspection, I said, okay, how did I do? And they're like, it was great. And when they say it's great, and I say, what happens is our business is built on satisfied clients like you. And one of the ways you could help our small business grow would be provide us a referral on Google. Okay. So, and then what I say is this, and this is where I wanted to go with you guys earlier. Okay. And if you guys have been with me a long time, you already know this. But the fact of the matter is, I say, you know what? The most effective review that you could give us would include 3 things. Why did you select our firm? Okay. And then what was your experience with us today? And would you refer us to your friends and family? You can answer those 3 things in any way you want to answer them. All I'm saying is that would be the perfect ideal for us. So others would select us like you did. Okay. And so then they understand. Now, what have you done? Let's think about the psychological impact of what you've done. Did you tell them what you wanted? Okay. And you did a great job before you told them, right? So the psychological trigger is reciprocity. Okay, they feel inclined to do a little something for you because you did something great for them. More people will absolutely do it because of reciprocity. Okay, so when they're happy, boom. And then, by the way, here's the things I'd love for you to include. that would be most beneficial to people that were looking for a home inspection. So you got the perfect deal. Think you can do it? Do you want to give it a try? I mean, that's the simple way to do it. Why did you select our firm over all others? What was your experience with us today? Would you refer us to your friends and family? 3 simple little questions. Okay. And they'll take that and boom, you can actually give them a little card that says the ideal review contains these answers to these 3 questions. Okay. So now you're getting more than one-liners. Are you going to get everybody to do it? No. Are people going to send you one-liners? Yes. But have you improved the opportunity to get something other? Okay. You have. All right. Have you ever heard no in your life? Keith hasn't heard no, but the rest of us have heard no in our lives, in one aspect or another. So, you're not offended by no. We're business owners. If they don't do it, okay, God bless you. This is America. I'm okay with that. I still love you. I'm still going to market you. I'm still going to try to get referrals from you. Don't think I'm not. So I lied about the rain. Here it comes. So it just came a little later today. So that's how we do it. Okay. So questions or concerns, anything about that? Anybody want to talk any more about that? I mean, that was just some things I wanted to really share with people because it's so important. What's everybody else doing and how's it working? We talked about it. Okay, we talked about timing. So, I mean, everybody's seems to be asking at the end. So that's about it. I want to ask you about this. Anybody getting any video reviews? Any video reviews? Okay. I'll tell you, Jim Davis out there in Katy, Texas. Jim, old friend of all of ours. A lot of them know him. Chad knows him real well, I'm sure, being in Texas together. But Jim did a really great thing. He had reviews on his website. We had all this stuff too that where we had first-time home buyers on there. And then we had what he called move-up buyers, which are people that had bought their first home and, they had increased in wealth and they were moving to their second one. Then he had buyers that were, had bought several homes. And then he had some minority people on there. He had some ladies and he had some, some younger couples. He had some, some Hispanic folks and some Black folks and all that. So a variety of plethora. So when they came to his website and they saw the video reviews, somebody said, oh, there's somebody just like me. There's a first-time home buyer just like me. What do they have to say? Or here was an Hispanic person just like me. What did they have to say? Okay, it's a very powerful tool. I mean, it's a very powerful tool. So do you know why most people don't give you video reviews? The simple thing is, they might say, oh, my hair don't look that good today. I didn't wear the right dress, this, that, and the other. But the real thing about it is they don't know what to say. They don't know what to say. You put you on camera. I'm just going to use my cell phone here. We're going to have a little conversation or whatever. But those same 3 questions I gave you, why did you select our firm over all others? And then, what was your experience with us today? And would you refer us to your friends and family? Those 3 questions spoken the response in their own words are the most powerful videos there are. And people will say, I just got 3 little questions. They look at it and say, oh, I can say that. And they're more inclined to do it. But you know what? You have to have the courage to ask for it. So you know what would really help me? I love reviews, but what would really help us even more is I'd love for you to be a superstar on our website. And I'd like for you to just take 1 minute or 2 minutes and answer these 3 questions, and I'll hold up my cell phone. Think you could do that? Now, if you're talking to an 80-year-old woman, they're not going to do it. But how about some of these Gen Zs? How about some of these millennials? I think they'll do it. I mean, we've gotten people to do it all kind of times. I've done it for other companies. So,
and then what do you do with that video? How do you get that to appear in Google?
You don't get it to appear in Google. You get it to appear on your website because we put it on there for you.
Yeah.
And we're going to put it right on the front of your homepage. So that's the thing. So because remember, I call visitors, I call it traffic. Okay, so when I say traffic, that means visitors. So not all traffic comes to your website comes from Google. I mean, from Google My Business Profile. It comes from all over the internet and lands on your website. Okay, because that's what SEO is about. Okay, so the fact of the matter is then they come and land on your website and they see it. Now they can relate to it. I personally think you should do a video talking about the quality of the inspection or what you offer clients over everybody else in your marketplace. I think you should put that video right on the front of your own website. Okay, so we'll talk about that. But the thing about it is that you could give video reviews, but you just asked. Most home inspectors are afraid to ask. So you ask somebody and they say, I don't really want to do that. Then you know what happens is, does that get you upset? Why heck no, I understand that. That's fine. Just thought you might want to try it. And then you're on to the next thing, right? It's not awkward. Okay. So video reviews are super powerful. I mean, and you won't get a ton of them, but what you do get will be really great. I'll tell you, William Troutman had a ton of them too. He was very good at it. He just put people at ease and say, hey, here's what I'm really thinking about. You know, you could be really helpful. And here's, I just need you to answer these 3 questions in your own words. They look at it and say, I can do that. So, I mean, it's a super powerful strategy. You know, we got people writing about us, but now when people are, you're hitting on, they can hear it, they can see it, and they can read it. That's the 3 learning modalities are right there. That is the most powerful review you can get. So I didn't know if anybody was doing it that was on the call or not. Anybody given any kind of incentives, and what do you feel about the appropriateness of them? I mean, I get home inspectors like, oh, we can't give incentives, whatever, I'm not in agreement with that, but I'm a marketer, so what can I say? So, what's your thoughts on it? Is Brandon? Let me get back up here to the top of the screen. I keep pushing the wrong button. I don't know, Brandon. Are you still with us, Brandon? Yeah, he had to go coach a little league football team with his son. Okay. So let's start off. So now, Chad, you are on the top of my screen. And I always work the top down. So watch out when you come on the call.
I have to come later next time.
Yeah. Come on, Tom. I won't pick on you as bad. So what about you offer incentives, or you have adamant disagreements about incentives or whatever about reviews? What's your thoughts on it?
Well, Beth probably knows. But yeah, I'm only time that anybody's taken advantage of an incentive or an offer are people that send me all of their customers anyway.
It's always the way.
So I guess I'm
You know,
thinking
that-
about something a little bit different, Chad. I think I'm really thinking about, if you give me for everybody who does offers a review of our services this month, we're going to put your name in a hat for a drawing of X. That's what I'm really thinking about. I'm not really thinking about making an offer to clients other than for incentives, for reviews.
Okay.
Sorry, I
Okay.
wasn't very clear about that, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, I was thinking about a home inspection incentive. I haven't thought about doing that for reviews. That might actually, I'll have to kick that around a little bit and see what we can do.
I want to preface all of our remarks with, if you're a member of some association or whatever, they have these goofy rules. You have to make your own decision as a business owner whether you're going to deal with that or not. If you have state regulations about doing that, like you might in Texas, heed the warning. Okay, the associations, I don't give a rat's fanny whether you do that or don't follow their rules. That's just made up by them. But the state rules are a whole different story. So let's just say the state rules aren't an issue in your area, then the fact of the matter is, encouraging people to do with incentives might be a certain thing. I'll give you an example. One of the gun dealers I deal with, they always have a little drawing for everybody that puts their name in a hat and that gave them a review on a product or whatever. And they offer you 20% off your next whatever purchase, or they're giving away a free, whatever trigger for your AR or whatever they're doing, whatever promotion that you entered. Okay, by giving a review for certain types of products. So I didn't know if you guys thought about incentives and encouraging clients to do it or not. So you hadn't done it?
No,
You're not morally opposed to it?
no, just have to come up with a good idea.
Right. Well, we can help you with good ideas. We're the good ideas people.
Ken,
Yeah.
I've considered Starbucks, Amazon gift cards, $10, $15. Hey, leave a review and I'll send you a gift card. I've never done it, but I certainly thought about that. And some of my local competitors that are just getting 20 to 30 a month and doing the same amount of inspections as me, I'm wondering what are they doing? They have to be incentivizing somehow.
They might be, but I will tell you this. You've probably heard this term before, quid pro quo, which means the Latin for this, for that. Okay, and what happens is you as a home inspector are not bound by RESPA laws, the federal laws, RESPA, that apply to real estate transactions with real estate. You're not bound by that, but you are bound by it when you do business with real estate agents. So if you didn't do business with real estate agents, you're not bound by RESPA. Okay. But if you do business with real estate agents, then you are bound by the RESPA laws. And it's against the law for quid pro quos. Now, the question is, how is it presented? Okay, did the real estate agent say, oh, wow, Joe's going to give you a gift card if you give him an incentive and this, that, and the other? So it's always kind of a danger with that. So I would encourage you not to make it a quid pro quo. Like, could we have an offering for a discount on whatever? Or could we put people's names in a hat? Okay, or could we do some other type of incentive that really wasn't this for that? I'm concerned about the people that are doing that and the legality of that. Certainly in certain jurisdictions, that's a no-go. So other types of incentives, but if you're not opposed to it, see, old-time home inspectors are like, we ain't paying for no reviews. Well, you're not really paying for reviews. You're incentivizing people to jump on in the pool that would jump in anyway, hopefully. But old-time inspectors, they would get just repugnant, about this whole thing. But I think that some types of incentives, and have you ever done any mystery shopping on your competitors to see what they're doing and what they're offering, Joe?
As opposed to
No,
review.
just get on the phone with, act like you're a customer, try to book a home inspection.
I occasionally will check their websites just to keep track of my pricing, but other than that, that's a check.
So if you have a friend or family member that's willing to do it, what you do is you just give them you'd like to tell them the size of the home and age of the home, blah, 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 what neighborhood it's in, and just ask for a quote and see what they have and say, well, ask whatever questions you could find out about. Do they offer incentives for reviews or, whatever, and, all kind of things. Do you accept cash and, at a discounted price, how they treat the people, what they say to them. Mystery shopping is a very powerful tool for home inspectors to learn about their competitors. The website's not going to tell that whole story.
What I think is very valuable is occasionally I'll stumble upon a competitor's report, and a lot of times I'm very unimpressed. Roof inspections from the ground with binoculars, stuff like that. So really, I'd say my weakest part in my business is just trying to obtain more Google reviews. I want to get my number up higher. I'm currently at 94, and I really feel I just need to be in the triple digits. I'm almost there, and my goal was to be in triple digits by the end of this year. I think I'm going to hit it, but now I'm just wanting to get higher and higher. So,
what your competitors got? Anybody in your market got higher in showing up in a 3-pack?
oh, absolutely. There's a company, and I know the guy well, and he's at 1,000 in 4 years. And he left his partner and he started his own business. And October of 23 till now, so a little under a year, and he's already at over 200. So I don't know. I've asked him before, and he says, "Oh, I just send an email. I just send a follow-up email." And I'm really confident that my customers are happy. I get out of 280 to 300 inspections a year. I average like 1 complaint a year, which I'm pretty happy with that. And they're typically petty. So I do think they're satisfied customers. They're just not taking that time. But so some of my bullet points I wrote down here, I think I can make some headway. And to the gentleman that mentioned sending it 2 days later, I think if you start sending it immediately with your inspection, you may see an uptick, because I did.
I'd say I'd send it immediately and 2 days later. I'd do both.
Yeah, I created a separate email that if 2 or 3 days later they haven't, or a week later I see they haven't, I put together, with the help of ChatGPT, I put together this witty little email that's trying to encourage them to leave me a review.
So, when I asked when we're getting reviews and I said you could kind of get the client to tell you what happens, is the first question is, share with us why you chose our firm over all others in the marketplace. There's one of the most important pieces of feedback you can get as a business owner, because if they can tell you why they chose you over others, you can build on that. Okay, so I think that's another form of feedback that you can get. Not only you get a great review, tells others, but you as the business owner learns as well. So, so John, how about incentives now? Are you just like, I know that you're the most conservative, old school dude we got on the call.
I've
So
never thought of it, but I wouldn't be against it. I send handwritten thank you cards out to referral sources, and I always throw a $5 Starbucks card in with that. Just thank you for sending a client our way.
that's the scary one now. That's the quid pro quo. You got to watch that
I
one.
know, but I figure for $5,
The rule says nominal. You're safe.
yeah, I'm not buying anybody for $5 gift card.
I don't know. You know realtors, man. $1.99, you own them.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I just had I had the first time I had an agent hit 100 referrals, and I went into her. I had you guys do a thing up and put it on the internet, but then I went into her office and I brought her a bottle of wine, and I mean, it was nice, and the people in the office got to see me walking through with a wine thing and so on. So I'm not against incentives. I just never considered doing it for a referral.
Mhm. I'll tell you just on the point that you're talking about walking through the office, seeing you with a bottle of wine. Kimpy and Bill Collins, Miss Kimpy, cute as can be. So she would always do the birthday run, and she'd have the helium balloons. Bill and Kimpy had like a helium balloon factory in the barn. They had a big farm over there in Bill's place. They had, and Miss Kimpy would take something really nice, some fresh baked cookies, and those balloons in there, and everybody would see her come by. And she always did inspections with Bill. She had the pink tool bag. I said the only tool she had in there was her lipstick or whatever. She's not really doing the inspections, but Bill would be doing the inspections. She'd be talking to the client, building these relationships. They built their whole business that way. I mean, they had dozens of inspectors. 5 or 6 inspectors after that. I mean, just continue to build so big. But seeing you in office with little goodies, start asking questions. So, let's think about incentives. What is it that you could offer? Nobody that you've done business with wants a free home inspection. However, what happens is you could put your name in for a 50% off a home inspection for one of their referrals. Okay, then you build the referral again, and that brings me into, of course, and I'm not another conversation is incentives for your prior clients to, as a brand fan, they give you 5 referrals. What have you done for them? Okay, so we'll get in that to another call, but that's a whole different one. So I'm glad to see you're not opposed to it. So it's just really thinking about what's the right incentive. Chad, I think, feels the same way. Okay.
Yeah.
Joe, you feel that way and you're not opposed to it. It's just you need something to think about to do it.
Yeah, look, no, I'm not opposed. I
Okay.
think each Google review has a monetary value to it. So,
Big time.
I'm not opposed to paying. If I could guarantee $10 is nothing to me. I'll just raise my price $10 and then offer a $10 gift card if I could guarantee they're going to leave a review.
So I want to, and we'll do something more creative than that, but I want to just talk to you about this for a minute. Do you feel that the more reviews you get and the more people feel confident, price becomes a secondary consideration? Have you noticed that when you do it?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's good. That's good, Joe, because that's the way it should be. And Chad, because your client base doesn't seem to come in for the whole thing, that may not be the case for you.
Yeah, I don't have any problem selling. Probably 90% of my inspections are what we call the 5-star inspection.
Mm-hmm.
That has the home inspection, termite, and infrared. So, I mean, that 9 times out of 10, I just tell them that's our price. And they say, well, what's just a regular, or, what are your other packages? That's the question they usually say. What are your other packages? And I just say, well, just tell me what you don't want me to do. And they say, oh, no, that sounds good. We'll take that.
Yeah.
Chad, can I ask you a question? Chad, when
Yeah.
you're talking to the client to schedule it, can't you just tell them that you expect them to be there and that they're going to get the most benefit from it by them actually being there?
Oh, and I've used that a lot.
And they
Almost
still,
those
and they
exact
still won't
words.
come?
No,
Wow.
they'll end up texting me the next day and saying, "Is it required for me to be there?" And I'm like, "Well, it's up to you. I mean, this is
I'd say yes.
you're going to get more value."
So what are you doing?
Yeah.
Asking for a friend? Hell yeah, you need to be there. Get on over here. Get your butt on over here. I
Can-
guess what I'm really thinking about this is the way we did it with reviews and brand fans. When people call you up, and I'll date how long ago we started the yellow pages, all they wanted was a quote. But when people call up and say, "Wow, I need to get a home inspection," and Joe from the company I work for said you guys were awesome. Okay. And so I wanted to talk about our place, So when you get great reviews or a brand fan really says great things about you, price becomes a secondary issue. I mean, and you can tell how well that's working by people call you up and say, "I want a quote. I need a quote on a home inspection." That's not somebody from a brand fan. That's maybe somebody that's never seen your reviews. Okay. So you can always tell when the conversation starts differently. Okay. When that conversation
Right.
doesn't start off, "I need a quote." Okay. Well, wow. Okay. Good morning to you as well. But when it starts on a different thing, "Hey, I got your name from," or, one of your prior clients. And the first thing we'd say is, "If you don't mind sharing who that was, we'd like to be able to thank them personally as well." Then they tell us who it was. Okay, so then we went from there. But when you have great reviews, not just "John did a great job," that's not really a review, that's a statement, so that's not a review. Okay, so but when you get really, meaningful reviews that you should work to get, then what happens? The price becomes a secondary consideration. Chad doesn't have to sell so hard on that 5-star package. He don't say it to say, "Tell me what else you want," or don't want, because we ain't got nothing but one thing.
Yeah.
So so that's
And
it. But if
We
Can
really
can
don't
I
get
ask a
that many
question
feedback.
that's sorry,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
we always
Uh,
have a lag.
I I have a question. It's slightly off topic from reviews and definitely word of mouth and word of mouth review referral. Just come do my schedule my inspection, come do it. They don't ask price. That's the best kind. Um Chad mentioned his 5-star package includes termite. So I'm licensed in my state to do WDI pest, and I charge extra if it's a VA loan and they need that NPMA-33 form. But how do I charge extra for a pest inspection if they're not doing a VA loan? Because I'm not going to gloss over some termite damage in the basement at the rim joist or the floor joist because they didn't pay me extra. That falls under the general home inspection umbrella. So how can I charge extra for that if it's not an NPMA form request?
Chad, how you guys doing it?
We just what I did is essentially took all three of the prices. I looked at my average home, got the square footage. So then I have, from this square footage to that square footage is this price, and so forth and so on. But took all three of those prices, added them up, and then knocked a little bit off the top to make it 572. Just an odd number like Ken told me to do. So it's 572, 622, 672, whatever it is just $50 for every so many square feet. And I just added them up, put it in there. They're getting it.
So Joe, what I think Chad is really telling you to help you understand that more is he's by bundling, you don't have to lay out all of those things because what you're doing is you're including it in the package. Okay, so if you do infrared, you do these other things, you just package them together and then people get that. So what is the perception they're getting the biggest value? That's why he calls it his
Perceiving to
5-star
them
package.
that they're getting more when in reality it was included anyways, right?
Well, I think
But
the thing
I
that you
knocked
have
a little
to,
bit off the top. for the bundle. Since they're bundling it all
Yeah.
together, you're there already. It doesn't take you that much longer to do those
No.
other things.
People call
So,
me and say, "Hey, I want mold and pest," and I'm like, "Is this an MP? Are you a VA loan, or do you need an IAQ test?" And they go, "Huh?" No, I said, "Well, if I see mold, I'm gonna call it out, and if I see pest anything, I'm gonna call it out. It's included." So I would
right.
love to find a way to capitalize on that.
That's what I thought you were saying. So here's the story. Let's just take mold because you brought that up. That's a great one. Certainly, if you're out there and you see what appears to be mold in a house or this, that, and the other, you're going to say it, right? I mean, I would say it. And if I saw infestation damage on the sill plates or any other places around the house, I would certainly say it. But I haven't done a pest inspection by saying that, and I certainly haven't done a mold test by saying that. So when we're doing a mold testing, now we're doing air samples and this, that, and the other. When we're doing a pest inspection, we're doing whatever the state requires us to do to be a pest inspection, whatever that rules are. So seeing something and calling out your home inspection report is completely different than actually testing for those substances. So if you see mold, that's great. If they bought the package, we're going to do the sampling no matter what, if we see it or don't see it. So I think that's the difference between seeing it and doing something extra.
Yeah, I see how maybe I could roll that all into one and charge
And
extra.
you know what happens is because what happens if people are giving away free pest inspections? What does that really mean? Okay, so then what you'd have to say is if somebody says, well, what do these things include? And you could have a nice little list of benefits of the service offerings that you have. That it's not just something, because we've had people in the said market, everybody brings an infrared camera, but guess what happens? How are they using it? In what way they're using? What benefit is it to the client? And so what you do is you let them see the perceived value of what you're doing with the infrared camera. So they have the package really sells itself. Because, people don't want to, get surprised by what happens when they close on the house. And so they're willing to purchase the 5-star package. Now there's two, and Chad, I'm sure that you have this, there's a 5-star and then there's a standard home inspection. And you should always start by selling the 5-star inspection, because if people say, ooh, I'd love to have all those things, but I can't afford it. And you say, well, hang on a second, we have a standard home inspection and here's what it includes. So you don't lose that business. But when you opt for the standard of the higher 5-star price, our profit margins are up. And make no mistake, this is about a business. We're in this to make money. We're not in the business to rip anybody off, for sure. But we're certainly in the business to pay our bills and make money for our families.
Oh yeah.
So
It's definitely, when you start at the high price, it's 425 sounds great after they've heard 572.
But nobody wants to be upsold. So if you started with a standard inspection, then try to put mold and pests and all that, nobody likes that. I mean, well, how much is it?
No.
I mean, Norton Home Security Software. Okay, they bought LifeLock. We were a member of LifeLock. That check, make sure your credit doesn't go and have that $1 million insurance policy if somebody steals your identity and all that. So Norton bought them. I hate Norton. So they took over our internet security as well. And so they asked me what I thought, and I said, I hate your company. And here's what I hate about your company. If I need a stamp package, if I need this, it's so important. Why didn't you include it in what you gave me first and stop nickel and diming me? I feel like you're upselling me. I feel like you're a cheap, no good salesperson. And what happens is they responded right off to that. I said, because I start off with, I hate your company. And I did. I still hate them. But if I could change, I would. But it's all included, and it's a big complicated thing altogether. But I'm telling you, that pisses me off. Don't upsell me, man. Just tell me what it is. I can afford it, or I'm willing to pay it, or I'm not. Don't nickel and dime me and upsell me. So by start with a 5-star, you're starting with a much more pleasant experience. Here's the things it includes. Okay, nobody doesn't want to know whether they have mold or pests or whatever. I mean, that's a given. So then if they're just budget conscious and can't do it, we hey, no worries. Listen, we still have our standard inspection, includes a lot of the things. It works. It works. But 2 choices is all you should give them. Your 5-star and a standard home inspection. That's it.
Thank you for I'm gonna look at ways to do that. Thank you very much. And
And Joe,
sorry, bring
Yeah,
us in the weeds.
no, you're good. If you need ideas or whatever, just, send us an email, do whatever, and, we'll be glad to help you on it. Because that's a legitimate thing. I hear these questions all the time, I- everybody else in the market is giving it away. How would someone perceive value from what I'm offering it for? But by bundling it, it works way better. Okay. I really have everything I wanted to get out. I just wanted to see what you guys were doing, make some suggestions on maybe how to help you get going a little further on different ideas. And unless you guys have anything else, I'm gonna say good night to you. Good night then. Thanks everybody for being on the call. I do appreciate it. I always appreciate you participating, even though I have to call Chad's name to get him to talk to me. But I've known him for many years, so I know how it works. All right, guys. We'll see everybody soon. I got another meeting I get to go to.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
No, no, no.